The observation hung in the air, greeted by an unusual silence among the Galactic Council leaders. All eyes were fixed on the battlefield display, where a live feed revealed a sight none had anticipated. Human soldiers moved with an agility and precision that defied expectations, outmaneuvering and overwhelming the enemy, a coalition of the Raskar and Yali, two of the galaxy's most feared warrior species. The humans, originally dismissed as fragile and unpredictable, were now driving their enemies back, outclassing them at every turn. "Have you ever seen them like this?" one of the Raskar generals murmured, a mixture of awe and fear in his voice. "They're supposed to be unpredictable and emotional," replied the Yali war leader, his mandibles clicking with unease. "But there's something more here. They don't just fight, they thrive." On the battlefield, the humans advanced with relentless efficiency, their weapons a blur of energy and kinetic rounds. Yet it wasn't just their technology that made the difference. It was their ability to anticipate every move, every feint. They fought as if they were born for it, as if chaos and bloodshed were as natural to them as breathing. In the command center aboard the Galactic Council's flagship, the alien leaders watched in disbelief. The humans set traps with frightening precision, leading enemy forces into kill zones where they were mercilessly cut down. The humans didn't allow their enemies a moment to regroup or rest. They were relentless. "How did we miss this?" the Yali war leader muttered to himself. "We've been studying them for centuries. How could we have missed this side of them?" No one had an answer. On the battlefield, a squad of human soldiers cornered a group of Yali. Although the Yali were larger, stronger, and better armored, it didn't matter. The humans attacked with a combination of brute force and surgical precision, ending the fight in seconds. The Yali lay lifeless, outmatched by a species they had underestimated. "They're not fighting to survive," a voice broke the silence. It was one of the Council's advisors, an ancient being who had witnessed countless wars. "They're fighting because they want to, because they enjoy it." The implications were chilling. Throughout galactic history, even the most warlike species had limits, lines they wouldn't cross. But humans appeared to have no such boundaries. This was why they had been prohibited from galactic warfare, not to protect them, but to protect everyone else. The screen showed another scene of carnage as a human tank battalion crushed through enemy lines, followed by infantry moving with terrifying speed and coordination. There was no hesitation, no mercy. The humans advanced, and their enemies fell. "How do we stop them?" the Yali war leader asked, his voice edged with panic. "We can't let them continue. They'll win." The advisor interrupted, "And when they do, the entire galaxy will know what they're capable of." There was no longer any doubt among the Council. They had misjudged the humans' capacity for war, and now it was too late to stop them. The humans continued their relentless advance, pushing the alien forces back, outmaneuvering them at every turn. It was clear that this was not just a battle, it was a demonstration of power, a warning to the galaxy of what humanity could achieve when unleashed. In the command center, panic set in. The leaders, once confident in their superior numbers and technology, were now scrambling for a way to halt the human onslaught. But every strategy was rendered useless by the humans' unpredictability and ruthless efficiency. "Have we considered orbital bombardment?" one council member suggested, his voice trembling with uncertainty. The idea was met with tense silence. It was a tactic they had used before on lesser-developed worlds when conventional means failed. But this was different. The humans had already demonstrated a resilience and adaptability none had expected. Even if they rained destruction from the skies, there was no guarantee it would be enough. "We can't risk it," the Raskar general replied, his voice heavy with resignation. "Their fleets are already moving to intercept ours. A bombardment could provoke a counterstrike, and we've seen what they're capable of in close combat." Do we really want to test them in space? No one wanted to push the limits of human warfare further. The screen continued to display the battle in excruciating detail. The humans were now entrenched in key positions, fortifying their gains and cutting off any attempts by the alien forces to regroup. It was clear they weren't just fighting for victory, they were systematically dismantling the enemy's ability to fight back. "Send in the reserves," the Yali war leader ordered, desperation creeping into his voice. "All of them. We need to overwhelm them with sheer numbers." "Reserves won't matter," the advisor said calmly, his eyes fixed on the screen. "The humans have been holding back. They've only deployed a fraction of their forces. They're waiting for us to commit everything, and then they'll strike." The Yali war leader turned, disbelief in his eyes. "You're saying this is a trap? That they're toying with us?" The advisor nodded. "They've studied us as much as we've studied them. They know our tactics, our strategies. They're using this battle to prove a point, to show us what happens when we underestimate them." On the battlefield, human forces were now driving deep into enemy territory, cutting off supply lines and destroying key infrastructure. The combined alien armies were being fragmented, isolated, and annihilated. "They've broken through the Western Front," another Raskar general reported, his voice filled with disbelief. "We had 5 divisions there, our best troops. They're gone." "It's not just their technology," the advisor explained. "It's their psychology. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but when united by a common cause, they become unstoppable." Silence fell over the room. The humans were not just fighting a war, they were waging a campaign of annihilation, driven by a collective will to win at any cost. "Then we need to divide them," the Yali war leader said, determination returning to his voice. "Find a way to turn them against each other. Exploit their unpredictability. If we can sow discord among their ranks, we might have a chance." "It's too late for that," the advisor replied, shaking his head. "They've been underestimated for too long. Now that they've been unleashed, they're more united than ever. Trying to divide them would only strengthen their resolve." The Yali war leader's shoulders slumped in defeat. "So what do we do? Just sit here and watch as they destroy us?" The advisor didn't answer. Instead, he turned back to the screen, where the humans were now launching a coordinated assault on the enemy's central command. It was a bold move, one that left their flanks exposed, but the humans seemed to thrive on such risks. They were always 2 steps ahead, always anticipating the enemy's next move. "We need to think beyond this battle," the advisor finally said, his tone grim. "If the humans win here, they'll change the balance of power in the galaxy. We need to start preparing for what comes next." "And what is that?" the Raskar general asked, dread lacing his voice. "Survival," the advisor replied simply. "We need to find a way to survive in a galaxy where humans are the dominant force. Because once they've won this war, nothing will ever be the same." The room fell silent again, the weight of the advisor's words sinking in. The humans had been unleashed, and there was no stopping them now. The only question that remained was how the rest of the galaxy would adapt to a new reality, one where humans were no longer the underdogs, but the rulers of a war-torn galaxy. On the battlefield, the combined alien forces were in full retreat, scattered in a desperate bid to escape the relentless human advance. But there was no refuge. The humans were everywhere, pressing the attack with a ferocity that defied comprehension. The Galactic Council's command center was in chaos, its leaders frantic, their strategies rendered obsolete by the sheer unpredictability and ruthlessness of the human forces. "They're closing in on the command base," a Raskar general reported, his voice cracking. "We've lost contact with most of our units. They're being slaughtered." The Yali war leader could only watch in horror as the humans broke through yet another defensive line. The humans weren't just soldiers, they were predators, hunting their prey with terrifying precision and efficiency. "Evacuate the remaining forces," the war leader ordered, though he knew it was futile. "We need to regroup. Find a defensible position." "There is no defensible position," the advisor replied, his voice devoid of emotion. "Not against them. They've dismantled our entire war effort in days. We're running out of options." As if to punctuate his words, the screen showed a human strike team breaching the walls of the Council's central command. The defenses that had been meticulously constructed over decades fell in seconds, overwhelmed by a combination of brute force and tactical genius. The human soldiers moved with purpose, systematically clearing the base of any resistance. "They're coming here," a Greton council member said, his voice quivering with fear. "They're coming for us." Panic rippled through the command center. The council leaders had never considered the possibility that the war would reach their doorstep. They had always viewed themselves as untouchable, the overseers of galactic events. But now, the humans were proving them wrong. "Seal the exits," the Raskar general barked, trying to regain control. "We need to hold them off until we can—" His command was cut short by an explosion. The entire command center shook as the humans breached the outer defenses. Smoke filled the room, the acrid scent of burning circuitry thick in the air. Human soldiers stormed in, their armor gleaming, weapons at the ready. There was no negotiation, no offer of surrender. The humans moved with cold efficiency, taking out the remaining guards and securing the room in moments. The council members were herded together, their fear palpable. The species they had once dismissed as insignificant now held their fate in its hands. The leader of the human strike team stepped forward, his face hidden behind his helmet's visor. A tense silence stretched, broken only by the distant echoes of battle. "This is over," the human said, his voice calm, almost casual. "Your forces are defeated. Your command center is under our control. The war is done." The council members exchanged glances, struggling to process the reality of their situation. The humans had not only survived, but had overturned the balance of power in the galaxy. "What will you do with us?" the Yali war leader asked, his voice trembling. The human soldier's visor reflected the devastated command center. "That depends on you," he replied. "You can resist, and we'll finish what we started. Or you can accept that things have changed." There was no mistaking the finality in his tone. The council had lost. The old order was gone, replaced by something new, something defined by the species that had just demonstrated its unparalleled capacity for war. The Raskar general stepped forward, his voice filled with a mix of respect and fear. "We underestimated you. We thought we controlled the galaxy's fate, but we were wrong." The human nodded. "You were. Now you have a choice. Resist or work with us to rebuild. The galaxy is vast, and there's room for all of us, if you're willing to adapt." The council members were silent, grappling with their new reality. The humans had shattered their beliefs about power and dominance. "We'll need time," the Yali war leader said quietly. "Take your time," the human replied. "But understand this, the galaxy is different now. We're stronger than you imagined, and we won't let anyone forget that." With that, the human turned and left, his soldiers following in disciplined formation. The council members watched in silence, the weight of their defeat settling in. The galaxy would never be the same again. The humans had shown them a new way of war, brutal, efficient, and effective. As the human soldiers exited, the Yali war leader looked at the others. "We must adapt," he said quietly. "If we don't, we'll be left behind in a galaxy that belongs to them now." The others nodded in agreement. Their survival depended on their ability to change, to accept that they were no longer the supreme power they once believed themselves to be. The humans had proven they were more than capable of holding their own, and now they were the ones setting the rules. The war was over, but a new era had begun, one where humanity would shape the galaxy's future, and the other species would have to learn to coexist with the force they had so gravely underestimated.